Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Andreas Makers, founder and president of Big Mouth Survey. I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. Today's topic we have is getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I am so excited and pumped up for today's guest. He's an investor, entrepreneur. He's written many helpful books out there. He is a keynote speaker, and most importantly, he is a CEO and founder of the Next Level Experience. It's Raul Villacis. How are you doing today, brother?
Outstanding, man. Thank you for having me, brother. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining, man. I mean, I know last week we weren't able to connect, but again, I'm very appreciative. Thank you for joining us today. And I know all the viewers are psyched and pumped up. So if we can, for the people that are not familiar with you, can you give a little background about yourself?
Sure. I've been an entrepreneur for the last 20 years. My main business is real estate. I've been in the real estate game ever since I was 21 years old. I bought and flipped properties, and I'm back in 2008 when the market crashed. I lost millions of dollars, and like a lot of people, felt like the punch in the face.
Yeah.
And that's the moment that I started really investing in my personal development. I really thought that I had made it at that point in my life. And just like we're experiencing now, we realize that we're not as strong as we think we are, right?
Correct.
So the difference between that moment and this moment is that moment I didn't have any of the insights or the tools that I have now to weather the storm. So I went to a deep depression. I went through challenges, lost properties, I lost millions of dollars. But really quick, I realized that in the middle of chaos, there's always opportunities. And that's when I started to look for different opportunities. And I found distressed assets that I could invest in. And within 6 months, we're profitable again. And then we started making more money and bigger than before.
Wow.
But that's the moment that I tell everyone, that the moment that you like, business is always going to go up and down.
Correct.
But the certainty is where you really get tested as an entrepreneur. And my certainty got tested really right after I started to get back my success, and I felt like I lost that edge, and I lost that certainty, and I lost the purpose, really, because I was just doing it for the money. I wasn't passionate about it anymore. I wasn't really waking up in the morning excited. I was just doing it because I had to. I wasn't doing it because I was looking forward to it, if that makes any sense.
No, I can relate to that. I can relate to that. From my experience, I grew up in the restaurant industry, being a family business. I did like it. I didn't love it, and because I didn't love it, I really didn't succeed in it.
Yeah.
And during this time now, I think that our conversation is really relevant for many people out there, because we're all faced with challenging times right now, very uncertain times, and I think that it takes a special person to persevere through this. And I believe everybody is capable of doing it. It's a matter of, how do you find that in you,
Yeah.
And I think everybody has a different trigger.
Yeah, so I think it's important to realize that at that moment when I kind of lost my edge and I lost my certainty is when I started to invest in myself, to find the patterns and find the triggers and really find, like, why is it that I'm not fulfilled? Because it wasn't that I wasn't succeeding. It was that I was good at what I was doing. I was making money, but I wasn't passionate about it anymore. I think a lot of people are trapped in that scenario. And we think that because we have success in a certain type of business, we have to continue in that type of business, even though we lost our passion. So that's when I went through a journey of about 5 years, millions of dollars invested in different programs, different things that I did, and I started looking at the different models, different modalities to really find that purpose, really find that what I call the edge. And what I got out of it was really a framework that I still use now, and of conditioning myself on a daily basis. And I started teaching my employees first, and I started teaching my business partners, and I started teaching different people that reach out to me, and then eventually I began to put seminars and workshops, and little by little that developed into what I do now. 90% of my time I'm focused and dedicated to building businessmen so they could find the edge. So I'm involved in different projects, different companies, but
Yeah.
my main focus and my main drive is to help men not sabotage their business, not sabotage their marriage, not sabotage their lives, because they lose that purpose, they lose that passion, they lose what I call the edge. So I find it very interesting to see that it's easier to help somebody who's lost the edge to actually get him back on track as we're seeing right now, a lot of people are losing that edge now because the coronavirus and the crisis. It's easier to get back on track than to give somebody something they never had. If
Yeah.
somebody calls me and says, Raul, how can I find the edge? How can I get the edge? I can't teach you that. You have to learn that through life's experiences. You have to pay your dues. You have to go to the hustle and the grind. But I could easily help those that have lost the edge how to find what I call the code that will give you that certainty on a daily basis. And it's just work. It's work. It's consistency.
Yes. No, I agree. I agree. So, how has the coronavirus impacted your life personally?
Well, it has impacted in two ways. I am seeing in a more clear picture the work that we do as an organization, the next level experience, the ripple effects that it has.
Hmm.
Because about a month ago, I think March 12 and 13, we had a leadership event here in Connecticut. And I hit the stage and I had a group of businessmen and we talked about what was going to happen the next 30 to 60 days. And right before that is when all the virus was a little bit on going crazy. Nobody knew what it was yet. And during that event, they announced a shutdown in New York City. So we actually had to cut the event one day short because they were afraid they were going to get stuck in New York if they shut the airports, because that's what the rumors were.
Yeah.
But at that moment, I said, like, there's not a better time than now for leaders to show up. So when most people are fearful of what the future may hold, leaders know that they're going to find a way. We may not know how, we may not know, what's going to happen, but we know that we're going to figure things out. We know that we're going to be able to make it happen. So I said to them, I said, in the next 30 days, you're going to be tested. Your mental capacity is going to be tested. Your health is going to be tested. Your business is going to be tested. Your relationships are going to be tested. Me, without even knowing what was going to happen, I said those words, and then a week later, I got sick. And
Wow.
then a week after that, the whole shutdown of everybody, being quarantined. And then 3 weeks after that, my wife got sick and got some serious liver issues that she has, developed because of the virus. And then it was one thing after another. But what I did at that event, or what we did as a community, really strengthened the setup because we knew it was going to happen. We knew that we are going to get punched in the face. So I want to say that I was ready for it, but I didn't expect it was going to be like this. I didn't expect to get sick. I didn't expect people. I know some people have died, especially here in the East Coast in New York. I mean, people, some people are saying that it was a hoax. People are saying that it's not real. I got to tell you from my own experience, this shit is as real as it gets. I was for 2 weeks out. I was sick. I couldn't get up. And if it wasn't for my family, for my community, even my own clients who were checking in on me, like I don't know where I would be. Because I think that as men, the moment that health really hits an impact, we really realize how vulnerable we are and how in less control we are of our lives. That really God is the one that's controlling everything. And the moment that you get sick, I know a lot of people, they start to pray and they start to get closer to God, because we have our businesses doesn't matter at that point. When you are dying in bed, all you want is to live another day.
Yeah. No, and I can relate because I have quite a few friends, in the past 3 weeks that I found out they have the coronavirus. Prior to that, I was on the borderline, of, is this virus, real, or is it that blown out to be, is it that, I can say, is it
That's
that?
serious. Yeah,
Yeah,
is that serious?
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Same here. Same here. I was like, yeah, it's gonna be a cold. We might just get sick a little. Listen, I'm a healthy guy. I work out. I eat healthy. I watch what I do. I don't drink. But in the moment that hit me, it hit me like a ton of bricks. And it was a bunch of guys within that event that got sick as well. Thank God, none of my clients or the people who were there passed away. Everybody kind of held their health strong. But really was a wake-up call to realize our priorities, our values. I mean, you talk about how has this impacted my business? Man, it really allowed me to see the impact that we're making, because I'm in the call every single day. I'm calling people and my clients and kind of like get them out of that mentality of the worst case scenario. Because the three things that will happen when you hit a situation like this. Number one, you will freeze. You will freeze with fear. Right
yes,
now, most people are frozen. I mean, and forcefully frozen, because we can't even get out from the house, right? Some
Mhm.
people can't even operate in their business, so they're frozen by fear. And I think that after 30 days being quarantined, we come out of the frozen mentality, and now there's two other options. You either fight or you flight. You either run away or you run towards the pain. And I
Yes.
think it's going to be interesting to see how many entrepreneurs and how many business people are going to just quit. Are going to just say, you know what, it wasn't for me. And because anybody could succeed when the market is good. I was one of them. In 2005, when the market was hot in real estate, I mean, I couldn't do anything wrong. I was buying properties when properties making millions of dollars without even trying. I remember, telling my wife one time that I'm not even trying. I'm making all this money. Imagine if I try, right? Not knowing that a couple of years later, it was going to be a lot harder to do business. I
Yeah.
think that's the same thing that's happening right now. It was easy to raise capital. It was easy to put your name as a CEO in a business. Now is going to test your capacity to lead. It's going to test your capacity to actually believe in your product. And I think if I didn't believe in my product now, if I didn't believe in what I was doing, impacted people, I'll probably be one of those guys who quit and say, hey, let me do something different. Let me
Yeah.
do something else. But this actually has given me a different insight of how valuable it is for organizations like the ones that we belong to really help other people not burn their business to the ground, because that's what I'm seeing now. If you're gonna flight, if you're gonna run away without giving it you all, then you're leaving money on the table. You might just quit because you think the worst thing is gonna happen. And the percentage of businessmen that are gonna say, you know what, I'm gonna fight. And that's the conversation I had with my clients yesterday. I said, all right, after 30 days, now it's time for us to go and fight, because you can't win a fight covering your face all the time. If you cover your face, you're not going to be able to win. You have to start throwing punches. So now it's time for us to start throwing punches, seeing what do we need to do in order for us to continue to innovate. What other services can we provide? Do we need to contact? Who we need to call? Like, what can we do to be proactive, to actually see the operations and the systems that we have? Because that's what this crisis could be an opportunity for us to recalibrate our values, recalibrate the team that we have to see who's really in it and who's not, and also recalibrate our message. What's the message that we're sending to our clients, our community about our business? Are we just in it for the money, or are we really in it to help others and create an impact?
Correct. Yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you on that. Now, that's why I wanted also to let everybody know here that the next level experience, it's for entrepreneurs that want to take it to the next level. And if you can explain and tell people why now, and I know it was a little bit what you were explaining, why now is more important than ever for somebody that is looking to get out of their comfort zone.
So I've been telling my clients for the last 2 years, the storm is coming. I've been telling my clients that they have to prepare themselves mentally, physically, financially, but most importantly, they have to really ask themselves a question: who do I need to become to lead? And I think that right now it's very easy for us to look for somebody to blame. It's
Mm.
very easy to blame the president, to blame, the bailout that, we didn't get any money because they ran out of money. We could blame our customers. We could blame anyone. But right now, there's zero upside of looking to blame people. All the upside is, and who do you need to become to succeed in this crisis? And just like in 2008, there's opportunities. There's going to be massive opportunities right now. The only thing you need to do is change your mindset and understand that this is a cycle. We are looking to recalibrate, and the strong are going to survive. And I don't mean they're strong financially or they're strong physically. They're strong mentally and spiritually, because now this is an inner game. This is gonna be some days you're gonna wake up, it's gonna feel like, man, I wanna give up. Some days you're gonna wake up, you're gonna feel like, shit, I don't wanna show up. But
Yep.
then why are you doing it? That's when you're being tested. Are you truly in it because of your purpose, or are you just in it because you want a significance, or you just wanted to make some money? And I think that right now is the most important part of this journey, to actually build ourselves, build our character, and be around other people who think the same way. I mean, 90% of my conversations with my clients, we talk about expansion. We talk about how we're going to take advantage of those opportunities. What are we doing today to actually innovate? The other 90% of the conversations that I have are with other people, and all they want to talk about is the problem. All they want to talk about is, what China did, what Trump is doing. Like, listen, if Trump does whatever it does, like what am I going to do? I don't have access to Trump. I
Right.
can't call him up. I don't like. What do I get if I know the history? I mean, yeah, maybe there is some value of it, but I don't think for right now, this media moment, it serves us to start looking at the source and to blame, especially if you're an entrepreneur. All your energy right now needs to be directed into two things. Number one, staying healthy, because this virus is no joke. Like right now, that you need to start getting healthy, start eating right, start making sure that you're protecting your antibodies. There's a couple of things that I'm gonna recommend, like vitamin C, vitamin D, hydration, juicing. Making sure that you stop drinking alcohol at least for the next 30 days to make sure that you don't kill your immune system. Right now, that's your main priority, because everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. And believe me, you don't want to get sick. You don't want to get your family sick. You don't want to get your people sick. So that's the number one priority, staying healthy. The second thing now is stabilizing your business. If you're impacted by this, you need to stabilize it. That means don't lie to yourself. Don't make things worse, but at the same time, don't think that things are better than they are. Look at the reality. That was my mistake in 2008. I was very optimistic and I didn't cut people. I didn't cut certain things fast enough. Like now, every single day I'm asking, what do I need to do? Who do I need to move? Like who's producing, who's not producing? You need to start being very diligent about your organization and your products and your services. If you're a CEO, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner right now is the time for you to make some tough decisions. And some decisions are gonna hurt right now, but don't make it worse either. Right now, we are in stabilization mode. You need to stabilize your business, stabilize your team, and most important, stabilize your mindset. You can't lead people with uncertainty. You have to show them the picture. You have to tell them like who you're becoming. Like one of my clients that I'm coaching right now, he has over 500 employees,
Wow.
and then when this thing happened, he had to let go of about half of his staff, and it was a tough decision to make, but he had to make it in order for him to survive. And he told him, I said, listen, he said, like, when things get better, we're gonna give you your jobs back, but right now we need to make sure that we stabilize our business. And it was a tough call, but a savior will always get crucified. A leader will be remembered.
Yeah.
So those are the things that we need to understand, that sometimes we have to make tough decisions. And once you stabilize and once you find your rhythm, then you can start looking at strengthening and building your business back up. But right now we need to stabilize our business, stabilize our mindset, stabilize our health in order for us to go to the next level.
Yeah, no, I agree. I've had to make some tough choices myself for two of my other companies. We've had to lay off some people and restructure the responsibilities of others to keep their jobs. But I found that it is very important as a business owner. You have to make tough decisions now, because if you don't, like you're saying, it'll haunt you later, and it'll be even worse. That worst case scenario, it's going to be that even worse feeling. So I always like this has taught me is, again, facing my fears right now, and whatever fears come up in front of me, I've learned just to face them and to take action on it. Because if you keep on putting it to the side, they're not going to go anywhere. They're waiting for you.
And I think that's the key thing here, for us to understand that fear gives us the opportunity for us to grow. And listen, take it for a guy that the last 30 days, my biggest fear has come to reality. Meaning, my biggest fear was me being sick and not be able to be there for my family, or worse, my family getting sick, right? And look, my biggest fear came true. My wife getting sick, and me getting sick. And what kept me going is realizing that I'm prepared for this. I've been made for this. I've been building myself for this. I'm not running away from this fear. I'm not running away from what's going on. And every single day I was conditioning myself and pushing forward. And I think that the mistake that I did in the past of running away from fear and maybe drinking and sedating the pain and pretending that everything's going to be fine, that's self-sabotage. Right now, it's time for you to lean in towards your fear, face your fear, and then use that fear for fuel. And that's what I teach my clients. How do you turn that fear and turn into fuel? Because behind that fear, there's opportunity. Like, man, I was fearful that my wife was gonna die. I was fearful that I was gonna die. But the moment that I got real with it, I said, okay, I'm strong enough to get healthy, and if that's God's will, I'm good either way. So I think surrendering to the things that you can't control is the first step, and then now focus on what you can control. I couldn't fix my wife's health. I couldn't help her. I'm not a doctor, but I could be there for her. I could show her that I'm able to hold a space. And I think that's where a lot of businessmen right now, or business people right now, they need to be present, that whatever energy you're exuding is affecting everyone. It's
Yeah.
not just you, it's your kids, your wife, especially you're in quarantine. Now your kids are modeling how you handle stress. Your kids are watching what are you saying, who are you blaming, and little by little these kids are being programmed of how they're going to lead in the future.
I know it's very important. And for myself in my house, my kids, I tell my kids, and especially my wife, I said, you got to hold me accountable. We have it in our house that we hold each other accountable. If somebody's miserable, or somebody is getting they can see the stress in them. We hold each other right before we're about to go to that edge of letting go, or yet say yelling. My son especially, he knows when to say, "Hey, dad, chill out." He goes, "I'm going to model you," and he knows that. Like, it's amazing. My son even will tell me straight up, "I whatever you do," he goes to me, "I watch you. I do it." Because what you do is what I think I should do. And I can understand that. And I'm like, I'm so proud of my son for being able to just tell me straight up. And I'll tell you one more thing. My son the other day, because I had a bad day at work, and it got to me. That day got to me, and my son, goes, "Dad, I want to tell you something." And I said, "What? What do you want?" He goes, "You might get mad at me if what I'm about to tell you." And I said, "You know what? Lay it out on the table. Tell me how it is." And he goes to me, "You know what? I'm sorry to say this, but yesterday you acted like a effing asshole." And my son is 9 years old.
It's
And
awesome. That's awesome.
I told my son, I said, "Man, thank you so much for letting me know." I said, I give you a lot of respect. I'm not mad at you, because I said to him, I was yesterday. And, I apologize. But, going back to that, these times bring out the worst, but
You're right.
being faced with it, and being, told, and holding yourself accountable, I think it's harder than ever right now, but yet, being confined. And I think if you have somebody right now during this time to hold you accountable, to keep you at your best, it's definitely needed. If you can have that support, definitely have somebody keep you accountable during this time. I
Yeah,
think
and
it's
that, and,
important.
and I think one thing right there is give your kid enough credit for having enough emotional intelligence to know that he could have created a story about what you did and make it about himself, because
Yeah,
that's what we do.
yeah,
Like, so you were acting like an asshole, so because I'm not a good kid, or I'm a bad kid. So that's what happens. Like, we think that we are not making an impact right now on our kids, but our kids are creating stories in their heads like, well, my dad is stressed out because I'm not a good enough student, or I'm not behaving the right way. So I give them a lot of credit for having the emotional intelligence to actually call you on this shit and say, hey, it's not your pain. One of my favorite phrases that we use
yeah,
around the house and in my program is, your pain is not my pain.
yes,
So realizing that if you're having a bad day in your office, that's your pain. And my kids always tell me that your pain is not my pain. Great, thank you, because I'm not here to project my pain and give it to you. That's usually what we do as human beings, that we take on other people's pain, and therefore we create stories about how we're not doing good enough. And
correct.
there's a difference between emotional intelligence and emotional fitness. And one of the things that I teach is having emotional fitness, meaning every single day, ask yourself, why do I do the things that I do? If I'm stressed out right now, like, listen, people are stressed out right now about their business, and it's been 30 days is quarantine. So if your business right now is suffering for the first 30 days, and that means like, fuck, like you need to figure it out how this doesn't happen again. There's big corporations out there that are billion-dollar companies that they can't even hold their business for 30 days because they like that's is mind-blowing to me how this has gone so quickly in a global economic crisis,
Yes,
because we are constantly over optimistic about how business is being run. And I put that on me as well. Like, man, like, I need to start establishing different systems in my business, and I'm taking responsibility, but I'm taking action at the same time.
yeah,
Taking ownership responsibility without action is just having emotional intelligence. Emotional fitness is you take action with the data that you're receiving, with the feedback, like your son is giving you feedback. Well, guess what? The market is giving you also feedback about your business model. The world is giving you feedback about how we operate. God is giving you feedback about your connection with Him. So
Yeah.
everything is just feedback. So if you have that mindset that everything is feedback, then what you do with that feedback is emotional fitness. You have to be willing to go towards the pain and do something about it.
Well, yeah, I'm with you on that one. Now, I wanted to, also talk about. I think this would be a great for many of the viewers. What I'd like to say is, everybody, please, right now, if you can, or when you guys get a chance, go on entrepreneur.com and type in and look up Raul Villacis. He has a lot of great videos and articles on the topics that we're talking about, and I think that they'll be really relevant during these times, and I think will help a lot of people during these times. Two of them, one art title is "The Two Types of Fear That Stop Most Entrepreneurs." If you could just elaborate on the two type of fears.
Well, one of the fears that I see, one of the patterns that that I encounter is the idea of the illusion of perfection. Because I think that's where stops us from taking action. We want to have a perfect setup, the perfect situation, the perfect studio, the perfect message. And I think that now we're seeing more and more that really perfection is overrated.
Yeah.
Look at what has happened in the last 30 days. Like, people are going through social media, Instagram Live, Facebook Lives, and we just realizing that, you know what, it's okay for us to put out a message. Like, it's more important to deliver an imperfect message than the perfect message that never gets told.
Yeah.
So I think the fear of, man, I need to have the perfect business plan, the perfect, message, the perfect lighting. Like, no, it's about progress. You need to continue to try doing different things and test different things. And that's one of the key things that I tell my clients, that is, you got to test the market, you got to test the message, you got to test, your leadership skills, because what we're looking for is feedback. And then the other fear is the fear of not being good enough. At the end of the day, like, we want to succeed, but what stops us and we sabotage ourselves because we feel like we don't have what it takes. We don't have the leadership skills. We don't have the capacity. We don't have the mindset. And fear turns into regret, turns into guilt, and turns into shame. And that's why I'm here to tell people, like, this is okay. It's okay for you to fail. Like, it's okay for you to experience adversity. Before I got into school, like, I was coaching a client of mine, and he says, Raul, like, if it wasn't for your program, I don't know if I'll be able to take so much adversity right now that I'm going through. One of his partners just stole $6 million from the company, took a loan against some of the properties,
Wow.
forged his name, and did all kinds of illegal things, and took $6 million out of the assets. And doesn't matter how much money you have, $6 million is $6 million. But one of the key things I said, in the past, I would have said, you know what, we're gonna figure this out, and I'm not going to take the proper procedures to make sure that you learn. He would have ate the $6 million. It would have put him in jeopardy in his business,
Yep.
but he would have been a savior. Now realizes that we're not here to save people, we're here to lead them, and everybody has to be responsible for their actions. So I get messages. I got a call from another client of mine a couple of weeks ago that he's going through a divorce through this, and the divorce was really hard. It was a really hard divorce, that he was going through depression. Then he kind of felt like, man, like, life is not worth living. And here's a guy who's worth a lot of money, but he says to me, life is not worth living, right? And that, for me, is the ultimate, like, the depression that gets to the dark place,
Yeah.
that you think that, you have kids, you have a family, you have all these things, but then you think your life is not worth living. Is the feeling of never really being loved or being good enough. So as I worked through this process with him, at the end, he thanked me, saying, Raul, I realized that all the time I was building businesses, I was doing all these things because I never felt love. I never felt like I was enough. So you
Yes.
see, the fear of not being enough is the gift and the curse. The gift, because we'll build businesses, we'll build the biggest building out there just to prove people that we are enough. The
Correct.
curse is that it's never going to be enough. That you're always building to fill that void. So the outside determines how you feel on the inside. And what I want to do is, I want to help people understand that how you feel inside actually reflects what you build on the outside. And right now is a crucial moment for us to start checking in, is, how am I operating in the inside? how is this inner war, inner battle going for me? Because if 30 days is all it takes for you to feel like you're not enough, and you want to burn everything to the ground, then you didn't have enough emotional fitness to actually weather the storm. And even though right now we're going through a global storm, it's just been 30 days. Like, it's gonna get better. Like, it might get worse before it gets better, but you are stronger than you think. You're gonna figure shit out. And
Yeah.
that's the mindset that you need to have, the mindset of a leader, that okay, I might fail, I may get hurt, but I'm gonna continue to fight because I'm here for the long term.
No, I'm with you on that. It's all about a fight, and I know that there's no giving up. I mean, some people give themselves choices, but I've learned being a business owner, entrepreneur, you don't have any choices. If you once you start giving yourself choices, you start doing the wrong things. You
Well,
know,
I think that we do have choices. It's just, what are we choosing that
exactly.
makes sense?
Yep.
Like, if every single day is a choice, and I tell my clients every single day, you have a choice. You have a choice to be a victim. You have a choice to be a savior. You have a choice to be a leader.
Yep.
Like, what you focus on empowers the choices that you make on a daily basis. So everything is made by choice. But see, we choose things sometimes that are easier. We
Mhm.
don't choose the hard path. We choose the easy path. And right now that we're being tested, that there's no, like, you right now, every path is a hard choice.
Yeah.
Like, every path. So now, listen, if you didn't make the hard choices before, of course it's gonna feel like shit. I'm fucked because I can't make. I feel like everywhere I go is a hard choice. Well, welcome to leadership. Now it's time for you to build some certainty, build some capacity. That you train yourself to make the hard choices and still be grateful, find joy, and find fulfillment in the middle of the storm. Because that has been my biggest gift. The last 4 weeks, I've been going through like sickness, through a storm, with every single possible scenario, but I was still able to find something that I was grateful for. I was able to still hold on to something that I could live for, and never in my mind I thought I wasn't worth living. If nothing else, I had a conversation with God during my high fever, and I asked him, I want to live, and he asked me, like, why do you want to live? Why do you want to live, Raul? And that's when I had to start realizing, like, there is a lot more for me to give. There's a lot more for me to do, and that's why I made it my mission to help other people find their true potential, so they could find the edge, go to the next level, and live life with purpose and passion.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. So the last article I wanted just to get a snippet on is, and I think this is going to be great advice for everybody. Prepare for, because it's just a matter of time. Something like this would probably happen again. Because it's never happened just one time. So the 4 preparations you can take now to avoid being crushed in the next crash. Can you give a little bit of advice on that?
I mean, that article came out a long time ago. I think that I did a year ago, when I
Yeah.
was talking about preparing for this, right? But if my memory serves me correctly, the one thing that you need to do is build a community of like-minded people. And look, right now, if you are around a lot of negative people, you're consuming the news, even if the crown doesn't get you, the pressure will get you.
Yes.
And if the pressure doesn't get you, the pressure will get you. Like, eventually, even like I see people who have not been affected by in business, who have not been affected, and they still depressed, and
Yeah.
they still feel, because it's a global energy right now. The vibration is at all time low. So therefore, even though you're not being affected, maybe your business is doing good, maybe everything is doing good, you're gonna find a way to find something wrong with life. So number one is get around people that are looking for a way to go to the next level. And I think another thing that I mentioned is start preparing for the fight. Make a commitment of looking at a 10-year plan. And this is gonna, again, 10 years from now, we're gonna look back just the way that 10 years we're looking back, 2008.
Yeah.
And we are gonna make it through this. The question is, who are you going to become through this?
Yeah.
Because a lot of guys who didn't make it in 2008, they got divorced, they were depressed, and they still live with guilt and shame and regret. Don't make this coronavirus give you guilt and shame. Don't let it win. You go and give it everything you fucking have, and every single day, believe that the best is yet to come, that you were destined for greatness, you were destined for more, and God and the universe are shaping you, molding you to become a better leader, a better husband, better employee, or a better employee, whatever it is that you focusing on right now, this is going to shape you to become better.
Yeah, no, definitely. And this is, like I said, I'm writing everything down. Like I write a journal pretty much every day, and to kind of backtrack so that if anything ever happens like this, I can want to kind of look back, and kind of help me persevere through it. But definitely, yeah, just it's been an interesting time, and I'm sure for most people out there, and like you said, it was just like a slap in the face. Did not expect something like this ever, And I think there's nothing good. I mean, I'm not going to say I don't wish this, but it was kind of a good scenario of something like this to happen. And the good thing I took out of it is that it woke me up. It made
Mm.
me say, you know
Yep.
what,
Yep.
Andreas, this is reality, right? This is reality, because every day you can't be comfortable, nothing's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. But this really woke me up to really appreciate, number one, everything that I have, my family, my health, the people around me, and just being here right now with you, right? It makes me appreciate this so much more. And I don't want to forget, because what I've noticed in history as being humans, we tend to forget after a period of time, right? So
Yeah.
3-4 months after this all passes over, I hope everybody does not forget.
Mm.
That's what I hope.
Yeah.
I hope.
Amen, brother. Amen.
I hope
And here's the reality. You hit on the nail. Right now, I think we are more present than ever before
yes,
because we're forced to be present.
yes.
We don't know what's going to happen in the future. We're not going to go back to the way things used to be before. People are looking to when are we going to go back to normal? I tell them there is no going back. This is the new normal. Get comfortable being uncomfortable, adapt, adjust, and execute.
Well put. Well put. Did you want to touch up on anything before we conclude with our talk today?
Well, if one of the things that I wanted to ask you, audience, if they wanted to get a hold of me, I have a text community where they could ask me questions. They could be part of our daily edge text. And the number for that, let me see, the number for that text community is 203-405-9199. That's 203-405-9199. Send me a text and I'll respond. Send me a text with your with a question. I'll respond.
All right.
And yeah, that's what we're building on. We're coming up with a daily edge weekly show as soon as we could get back into our studios, and we're looking to continue to bring more content. I'm in Instagram, I'm in Facebook, I'm in YouTube, and I'm looking just to give more value to business people around the world. My wife is coaching women, I'm coaching businessmen, and we're looking forward to make sure that we help as many people as we can through this crisis to become better than they were before.
God bless. And I'd like to throw one recommendation out for the viewers out there. For if you're a business owner, somebody that is looking to get out of their comfort zone. I mean, I can personally speak. I've had many conversations with Raul, and Raul is the real deal. I can tell you that if you guys are looking for somebody to push you, for somebody to lay it all on the line and give you the real facts, Raul's the guy. If you're looking to be sugar-coated, if you're looking to be patted on the back and felt, the victimizer, so to speak, Raul's not your guy. But I can highly recommend for the person that wants to change, wants to be pushed, knows what they need to do, but needs that little push. Raul's that guy. And again, Raul, I really thank you.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
And giving us all this great advice. I really appreciate it. I look to stay in touch with you. And I want to thank all the viewers out there for tuning into today's show. Again, please text Raul any questions that you have. He'll be answering any questions that you may have now or later. And I will tune in with you guys next time. Take it easy, guys.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Thank you.